I know some of you have read this before, but I thought if we were going through another lockdown together, we could journey through Luke's Gospel together, which is written in Diary of a Disciple. This is Luke's story. And the first bit's a little bit familiar. We go back to Christmas again, but hey, Christmas is a good time. And the first chapter in this book, they've called Fancy a Chat. So a lot of us fancy a bit of a chat at the moment, a bit of a moan. So I thought that was a great place to start. So Luke starts with, "Good evening and a very warm welcome to my marvellous story. My name is Dr. Luke, and I have been carefully investigating a series of mysterious events. And because I'm a little bit of a nerd, I've decided to write all my investigations down just for you. Lots of other people have tried to write it down before, but I want you to hear my side of the story. So, it all starts with a woman called Elizabeth. Some facts about Elizabeth for you. Her name is Elizabeth. She has a husband called Zachariah and a cousin called Mary. She has no children. She is very old, and she lives in a little house in a hill in Judea. Some facts about Zachariah. He has a wife called Elizabeth. He has no children. He is also very old, and he is located in a very important temple in Jerusalem. So, Elizabeth was very old. She was married to Zachariah, who was also very old, who was a kind of special religious leader guy who worked with a group of other special vicars who took it in turns to burn smelly stuff in the temple, which is a kind of Jewish church. Anyway, it was Zachariah's turn to do the burning. He burned incense, which is the name of the smelly stuff, as a way of helping people worship God. And while he was inside on his own, something absolutely terrifying happened. A large, glowing, bright man shape appeared out of nowhere and said, "Don't be scared." I mean, seriously, don't be scared. A big glowing man just appeared and fancied a chat. Zachariah was terrified, frozen to the spot, and when he heard what the man had to say, he just could not believe his ears. The man said, "You and your wife are going to have a baby called John." Zachariah thought this was crazy and pretty much told the angel so, which was a bit of a mistake because the man then introduced himself as Angel Gabriel, still scary, and told Zachariah he wouldn't be able to talk until John was born. Note to self, always listen to what angels say and do as you're told. Poor Zachariah had invented his own version of sign language so he could tell everyone what had happened to him. When he finally got home to Elizabeth and managed to wave his arms around enough that she could understand what had happened, she was even more amazed than he was. 6 months later, the angel Gabriel was out and about again, only this time he was in a tiny town called Nazareth, having a chat with a woman called Mary. Now, this bit you might have heard quite recently. He was telling her all kinds of lovely things that God had told him to say, so he couldn't understand why Mary seemed so scared. I mean, what's scary about being told that God really likes you and he's with you? And that you're going to have a baby. And God's going to be the dad. And you have to call him Jesus. That's not scary at all if you're the angel Gabriel. Gabriel also said, "Oh, by the way, your cousin Elizabeth's having a baby too." Mary took a deep breath and calmly said, "Okay, if that's what God wants, then I'll do it." She must have been super brave. Mary went to see Elizabeth, and she was definitely pregnant. Either that or she'd eaten a giant football for breakfast. Elizabeth was so excited to see Mary, and that both she and the baby John jumped up and down for joy. And Mary started to dance and sing. She said, "God is so good, I can hardly believe it. Why he'd chosen me. I'm not a really good fit, but he's blessed me because he's epic, and I will praise him because he's fantastic. He's so good, he's so kind. I can't believe he had me on his mind. He's so awesome, he's so strong, and it's amazing that he's loved us for so long." God is so good, I can hardly believe it. He's chosen me, so now I'll do my bit. He's my helper, he's my Lord, he is God. He's the Lord of all. Eventually, Elizabeth had her baby, and everyone told her that she should call him Zachariah, after his dad. Elizabeth tried to tell them she wanted to call him John, but they were having none of it. Zachariah started waving his arms around like crazy again, and everyone stared at him. Weirdo. Then he grabbed something to write, and he scribbled down something that looked vaguely like, what do you think? Does it say Joan? June? Jobo? But eventually someone said, does that say John? Praise God! At that moment, Zachariah suddenly blurted out, John, 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 John. His name is John. Then he pulled a rather odd face and said, hey, did I just say this out loud? Everyone stopped and stared at Zachariah. He hadn't said a single word in a whole 9 months. Not even a thank you. How rude. Then all of a sudden, he could speak again. Super confusing, eh? But the people began to wonder, there must be something special about this John baby. Maybe God might have had something to do with it. Baby John became the subject of village gossip pretty quick. But Zachariah was so excited at being able to talk about that the words just wouldn't stop coming out his mouth. He was happy, sorry, excited, exhausted, and amazed all at once. God has done it again. He is really saving us all, just like he said he would. He never breaks a promise. He's rescuing us. He's forgiving us. He's loving us. He's amazing. And Zachariah bounced him on his knee and said this, you are going to be the start of it all. You are going to tell people what's coming. You're going to be like a signpost. Very inspirational comment from Father there. John, a signpost. Just what you want your dad to say to you. As John grew up, he was still a hot topic of the local gossip charts, especially when he decided to go off and live in the desert, wear camel hair and eat only honey and insects. Tasty. How was he going to be a signpost in the desert? No one even ever went there. And we'll find out the next bit next time.